Yo, it's crazy. This is Claude Jones. We have very interesting topics going on today. We'll be talking about hospitals. We'll be talking about politics. Have some brothers come back on air. My partner, he's in Maryland right now taking business, but he also going to be on the phone. And another brother called Tanuk, who's going to come on and speak about some stuff too. Basically, it's crazy what's going on.
All right, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go real quick. Peace, everybody. My name is Anu. I'm Claude's co-host. Right now I'm in Maryland, just taking care of some business and things like that. But I appreciate Claude for having me call in and just be able to connect with the audience. I'm really appreciative of the audience and all the love that you've shown to me over the years, all the tapping in, all the questions in my email and things like that. I'm truly appreciative of it. So now down to business, real quick before I introduce my other kin, Tarnoon. Let's address the Trump situation before we get to hospitals and things like that. As far as the Trump situation is concerned, he did a great disservice to the people that supported him.
Using words like erratic, frightening, disruptive, and dictator to describe their concerns.
It's getting to the point where I'm almost scared to watch the news.
A lot of his actions have just been disruptive and creating chaos.
I don't think anyone would have voted for him if they expected to see what we're seeing now.
I was voting for him based off of the economy the first time around, and I'm seeing a significant decline.
It's very scary.
And now his people that supported him is completely against what he's doing. Netanyahu and the rest of the Israel, the people who are part of Israel and things like that, they are following a biblical script.
The Middle East peace Trump and Netanyahu are building could enable temple reconstruction. The isolation of Iran might provoke the Ezekiel 38 invasion. The acceleration of prophetic events suggests we're running out of time. But here's the beautiful truth.
So what we're seeing is something that's actually biblical, and it's been inside of the Bible. It's also inside of the Jewish Talmud and things like that, where they are supposed to take over the world. Like, you're literally, it's funny that you guys are mentioning the X-Men and all these superhero movies, because that's kind of what's taking place. You're watching Israel, who's only a couple of years old because it was born in 1948. I think Tarnoon was telling me that earlier, that they were born in 1948 because they were coming around a time celestially when they knew that the world or the universe in general would be waking up from the sleep of ignorance. I'm only saying that to tie it in with the fact that they are using religion mixed with capitalism and mixed with Judaism to carry out the evil atrocities that you're seeing, right? And they use a lot of our politicians, based upon their wrongdoing. I'll give you an example. So we're going to use the biggest example, which happens to be Donald Trump. So Donald Trump was in a lot of legal trouble. So when you're in a lot of legal trouble, this is when they get you by, proverbially, when you they got you by the balls. So they'll put you in a room and they'll say, okay, listen, you got 34 felony counts against you. You've been a former U.S. president. Do you want to be the first president in jail? Or do you want to back Israel and get out of this mess? So they give him that choice, right? So he lied to the people. He told the people America first, but it's looking like Israel first, right? You sat up there, you clown Biden. You told Biden, oh, you giving all this money to Ukraine. I'll get you out the war in 24 hours. It's been 3 months and you ain't out the Ukraine war yet. You understand what I'm saying? You lied about that. Now you're funneling all your money and all your power towards Israel. All of that money and American effort. If you do a poll right now about the people who support Israel war against Iran, you'll see that nobody supports this garbage. People like Tucker Carlson and them, they chewing a lot of the people who support him up. And even Candace Owens, who used to be a Trump loyalist, they all are against what Trump is doing.
Yo.
Why? Because
I'm sorry, New.
to the people.
They chewed Ted Cruz up too. You see that shit?
The who?
Ted Cruz?
Yeah, I saw the Ted Cruz interview. Yeah. So before I pass it to my kin, Tarnoon, I just want to say that we have to understand that those things are biblical right now. We have to be on the side of rightness versus wrongness, justice versus injustice. We have to be on the side of rightness. It is a dangerous time that we're living in. Why? Because we have nuclear weapons involved. If a nuclear war breaks out, that means that the atmosphere of our planet is going to be destroyed. Everybody has access to ChatGPT, they have access to Google, they have access to all of these things. All you have to do is ask Google, what does a nuclear war do to the atmosphere? And what happens is weakens the atmosphere. And what's essentially going to happen is any type of cataclysmic event outside of the nuclear war that happens, it can destroy the planet and humanity as a whole. So right now we're living in a very sensitive time, and Donald Trump has the keys to that, and he has to understand that he cannot back such a negative regime as far as the Israel regime is concerned, because they're being used against their will. So before I tap into the hospital aspect of things, I want Tarnoon to tap in, and and then we're going to also explain what we have going on as a project, so that everybody can go out there and support our projects, because we have a Kickstarter project on Kickstarter, and I want people to go out there and just take a look at it and try to support if you can, because this will help us in a great deal. But I want Tarnoon to chime in real quick before we explain all of those things. I don't want to take up too much time on Claude's show, but Tarnoon, anything you want to chime in on with the situation?
Okay. Please, yes. I wanted to say two peace to everybody, two peace to Ken and two peace to Claude and those who helped him with the show. This whole thing with Palestine, for the first thing is that just doing research on it, that Britain is really behind a lot of these problems.
This is the Balfour Declaration. Signed in 1917, it set out British support for the creation of a homeland for the Jewish people in Palestine. It's a famous document, a crucial piece of the puzzle in understanding today's conflicts in the Middle East, but it isn't the beginning of the story. In fact, when the Balfour Declaration was signed, the British had already promised this land to Arabs as an independent state, and promised the French government that it would be an internationally administered zone, and even then, most of the land was still under Ottoman control. So why did Britain make these three conflicting promises? How did it try to resolve them? And how did Britain's strategy in the Middle East help to cause a century of conflict?
Britain offered Palestine 3 different people before it ended up being given to the Jews. And it said right here, even if you Google it, it says during World War I, Britain made 3 conflicting promises regarding Palestine to the Arabs for an independent state, to the French for an international administration, and to the Jewish people for a national home. These conflicting commitments solidified the same mechanic correspondent, the Sykes-Picot Agreement, and the Balfour Declaration respectively laid the groundwork for future conflict in the region. So you got the promise to the Arabs, the promise to the French, and the promise to the Jewish people. And one was in 1915 to the Arabs, to 1916, and then they promised it to the French in 1916, which was a secret pact between Britain and France that divided Arab independence after the Ottoman Empire's defeat. And then the Balfour Declaration in 1917 was a letter from the British Foreign Secretary Arthur Balfour to Lord Rothschild. Look at that, the Rothschilds expressed Britain's support for the establishment of a national home for the Jewish people in Palestine. These conflicts promised made during wartime created a complex situation that will ultimately lead to decades of conflict between Arabs and Jews in Palestine. The British mandate for Palestine, established after World War I, attempted to balance these competing claims, but ultimately failed to satisfy either side, contributing to the ongoing Israeli-Palestine conflict. So, Britain is the one that laid down the foundation. The Rockefellers established the United Nations, and then they all gathered into that, and then they forced their way over there. And like Nick said, this is religious, because when you look at the belief of the Old Testament, specifically parts of Zechariah, parts of Daniel, like chapter 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12, it talks about the rebuilding of Israel and the temple, the third temple, and all that. And this is what they're doing. This is a religious thing playing out. And most of the people that are supporting Israel is basically, it's not that you're supporting Israel, you're supporting Judaism, and well, on the surface, but on the low, you're actually supporting the Kabbalah, the Talmud, and Mishnah, which are the other books of mysticism that the Zionists are following. The regular Jewish people, the Orthodox Jewish people, we're not talking about them, because they just listen and follow the Tanakh or the Old Testament. But the ones that are pushing all of this stuff, that have put all of these countries on the leash, comes from that. And so what they're doing is, what me and Anuda are doing, we're watching for what the New Testament calls the Antichrist, which is really a plural, but certain events and certain individuals can fall under Antichrist when you look at it from a religious standpoint.
So false Messiah, what's that about? So the false Messiah is basically, obviously, as Muslims, we believe Jesus is the Messiah. As Christians, they believe Jesus is the Messiah as well. There's only one group of people that do not believe Jesus is the Messiah, which is the Jews. The Jews reject Jesus as the Messiah. No, they believe that there's somebody else that's supposed to be the Messiah instead of Jesus. So whoever the Jews are waiting for is known as the Antichrist. He is the false Messiah.
True people that follow Judaism, Orthodox or not, they don't believe that the Jesus of the New Testament was the one that Christians are talking about. They believe that Jesus was, mother was a whore, and she was a prostitute, and that he was into mysticism and stuff like that. And they claim that Simon Magus or Simon Bar Jesus in the New Testament in Acts is the same one they call the sorcerer. So they will be Antichrist based upon their Judaic standpoint. And the New Testament is against them by claiming that those who say they are Jews are not Jews, but are the synagogue of Satan. So you got two different religions going against each other, but it's also in politics. Politics, as the nature book states, is their actual religion. And so Netanyahu, who claims to be Jewish, born in Tel Aviv, I think 1949, they are anti-Christianity. And so what me and Anouk is doing is watching for the third temple to be built. So while Christians who are like Ted Cruz and them are so gung-ho on supporting Israel because they believe that Israel is the chosen of God, overlooking all of the evil atrocities that they've done. And so what they want to do is build that temple, and Netanyahu or whoever is going to go into that temple and declare themselves some type of spiritual leader or some type of deity in flesh. But Judaism on a whole is anti-Christianity. So Christians are looking for how the movie painted it, where it be some political person will come and declare themselves to be the Antichrist and stuff like that. So if you go back and watch the movies like The Omen 1, 2, and 3, and things, go ahead.
Yeah, you know what I mean. I'm a Kemet kind of person. You know what I'm saying? And I believe if it was such a thing, I believe also the Antichrist also could be Donald Trump and his son. You know what I'm saying? His son gets powerful than the father. If they was doing such a thing, what you think about that situation too?
The problem is that we can't look at individuals as Antichrist.
Oh, okay, I get you.
Right? So it's an entire institution.
Oh, I get you.
You understand what I'm saying?
Oh, it's bigger than that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I get you.
But you may have leaders of that institution. You understand? So Donald Trump and his son may be the leaders of the Antichrist mentality. You understand what I'm saying? So according to the science that we follow, Antichrist is capitalism.
Okay.
The head of capitalism, the head of capitalism right now is Donald Trump.
Yeah.
Because the United States of America is the #1 economy when it comes to capitalism.
Yeah.
Not when it comes to natural resources. The #1 place in countries or continents for natural resources is Africa, right? So everything, no matter what you do, is going to circle back to Africa. So Africa right now is not the focal point. That's a whole nother discussion that we need to have as far as Ibrahim Traore and all of these guys are doing an amazing job in the Sahel regions in Africa. But we're going to just focus real quick on Netanyahu and Israel and Trump. So Trump and his son would be, yes, they are part of the Antichrist. But we can't overlook the fact that Ted Cruz, a lot of the Republicans, a lot of the Democrats, they are also part of the Antichrist too.
Yeah.
If you look at that video, because I'm pretty sure that you saw the video too, Claude. I know you saw the video. If you look at the video, Obama was saying the same thing Trump was saying.
Yeah.
Kamala Harris was saying the same thing Trump was saying.
Yeah.
Biden was saying it back in the 90s, and even up to now, when he was like, I'm not a anti-Semite, I'm a Zionist. And he's like, I'm a Zionist. It's not an evil thing. It just means that we are for the state of Israel. Even down to the mayoral debate down in New York just recently, they asked those candidates, where's the first place that you will go when you become mayor, and they all said Israel. So this situation that you're watching right now is tied in with religion, and we have to understand that politics is religion. When you pledge a vote, and you could go look up the etymology of the word vote, it means a pledge to a god, because they know that politics itself is a religion outside the fact from your own spiritual. So you're watching economic religion, you have a spiritual religion, you have different forms of religions that take place that people don't know about, and they think that these things are separate. So in this society, they like to separate things, right? So they think that chemistry is separate from biology, saying that this society likes to separate all the different sciences. So you would have biology separate from chemistry, and chemistry is separate from cosmology, and cosmology is separate from geography, and geography is separate from all of these different sciences, because this society likes to separate things.
True.
You understand what I'm saying? So separation is the name of the game, right? But in African spirituality, we understood that everything was connected to everything.
Yes.
You understand what I'm saying? So cosmology wasn't separate from geography.
Mm-hmm.
Geography wasn't separate from chemistry.
Mm-hmm.
Chemistry wasn't separate from neuroscience or any of those different things.
Yeah.
So our greatest minds in Africa understood that. You understand what I'm saying? So when you come to society like this is what you're seeing. But back to Trump and Israel and the question that you asked, Trump is just part of the Antichrist. He may be the head of the Antichrist right now, just the same way as Biden was the head of the Antichrist. So whoever gets into the seat of the presidency of the United States of America, they are the head of the Antichrist. But now you have an emerging Antichrist in what you would call Israel, right? Because that's why Netanyahu named the operation Rising Lion. Why in the world would Netanyahu get on TV make a press conference and call it the Rising Lion. Reason being is because he knows that the religious people that are watching that is what's going on in the world, they know that lion is the tribe of Judah in which Jesus was from. So they're going to use and cultivate the whole religious aspect, because he even said in the Bible, this is what's supposed to take place. You understand? So that's why I said that what we're seeing is a religious situation taking place within the world. But I know I had cut Tanun off from what he was saying before. So I just wanted him to finish that point real quick, and so we can move on to something else.
But, but it getting serious.
It is. Trust me. We can't culminate everything that's going to happen in a 30-minute show or hour show. This is deep-rooted things that's been happening for years and years and years. But we just want to let you know that everything that you're watching is directly aligned with your spirituality, and it's important for you to separate yourself from what's taking place. If you do not separate yourself from what's taking place, you will be drawn into it, and you will fall the same way that they fall, because you believe in these people. You're not supposed to believe in them. You're supposed to understand and have a proper mentality that these people are against you in every single way that you. It don't matter if you're Democrat. It don't matter if you're Republican. It don't matter if you're independent. It don't matter if you're Christian. It don't matter if you're Muslim. It don't matter if you're Buddhist. All of these institutions are against your spirituality and who you are as a whole. But I want Tanun to finish up what he was saying, because I think it's very important what he was getting to before we chimed in.
You were talking about the Omen Damien movie.
Right. Those movies give you the political outlook of it, because they focus on one individual that they call the Antichrist, and then that person came up under one of those presidents in America. I don't know if they was trying to say if it was Roosevelt or JFK or somebody they was trying to position it as, and he came up in the military and went on to be a world leader. So partially that is true, but as even the Bible and the New Testament tell you that there's more than one Antichrist. All the way back in the 1st and 2nd John, it'll tell you that there's many Antichrists in the world, but that was not speaking of back then. It was speaking of the future, because as Noon states, capitalism is Antichrist in multiple ways. And let me break it down. So one of the things that the ancient books talk about is being Antichrist is the people, the one that had killed and murdered. Now the person who had that done, because we know that truly
talk about Jesus Christ, the one that they had. Right. Okay,
right. Gotcha. So we talking about the person Jesus Christ, whose real name was Caesarion Ptolemy the 15th, which is the son of Mark Antony Cleopatra, born 46 BC and died 14 BC. That was the real Jesus Christ, and the one who had him killed, his name was Gaius Julius Caesar Augustus, born Gaius Octavius, September 23rd, 60.
So he
died 19 August AD 14.
Okay.
So he's the one that Cleopatra died under his authority, because Julius Caesar had died, and he was an adopted son of Julius Caesar. Cleopatra was sleeping with Julius Caesar and Marcus Antonius, and got impregnated by Mark, but he was a general, but Julius was the Caesar. And so what she did was she named her son after Julius Caesar Caesarion, meaning Little Caesar. That's where you get Little Caesar from, with the pizza joint. It comes from him, from that event. And that situation put Gaius Julius in a predicament, because Julius Caesar had adopted him and wrote in a will that he would succeed him in his death. And so now you had Caesarion Ptolemy, the real Jesus Christ, was now actually a potential blood son versus the adopted. So that's a problem when you know how you're dealing with money, and when somebody leave a will, the will, if it's done right, a lot of times, if it's contested, they're gonna go with blood over other things. He say, she say, with a will. So anyway, he was a threat. So he had to get rid of both of them. Cleopatra allegedly killed herself with stuck her hand in poisoned herself. Did she poison herself? Well, they say she stuck her hand in a basket full of snakes.
Yeah.
But they can never really confirm that. That she didn't want to be paraded around through Rome as a slave that got caught. Right. So she allegedly killed herself. Marcus Antony killed himself after he heard she died. And her son, which is Caesarion Ptolemy the 15th, aka Jesus Christ, that individual was on his way to I think India. And he had and Gaius Julius Caesar tricked him to come back and said he'll let him rule Kemet, Alexandria, where he was born, and that's where he got him at. And he killed Caesarion, aka Jesus, and crucified him on the top of the Giza Pyramid, the biggest one that's sitting in the middle. That's where X marks the spot comes from.
Oh.
So the Jews who was behind it, see that part of the Bible is true. When they tell you that the Jews had a problem, they had a problem because it wasn't that he was a Jew. Jesus or Caesarion was a pantheist. He worshipped Amun-Ra and all of them. It was no Judaism at that time.
Gemetics.
But they were mad because they knew that the Romans was interfering in their religious affairs. Jesus died meant the end of the Ptolemaic dynasty in Kemet, and that was the end of the worship of many gods. So that stuff had to change. The Caucasians, prior to the Constantine in 325 and all, they had no religion. The Romans were worshiping, the religion is Zoroastrianism with a little bit of Kemet, a little bit of Sumerian, a little bit of Babylon. They didn't have no religion.
Yeah, I get you. I know that's my specialty in that one. That's why I know about that area. Kemet. Yeah, that's why I know about how Constantine got involved, and also the whole area where they lied about where they killed the monks, Ethiopian monks, to build a statue.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying, of this fake god. And then they killed only one sellout of monks who gave him the religion. You know what I'm saying, who sold them out, made a statue. Like you said, you know what I'm saying, and that's where the Council of Nicodia came about. Yeah, I know about that area. Yeah, I know about Chemetics. I know about that. How they lied.
So they took Caesarion and again, the most important person in Christianity, period, is Josephus Flavius Piso. He took the death of Jesus because he was there when the temple got destroyed, the second temple of the Jews. In 67 to 70 AD, they had a war with the Romans and lost. And the Romans destroyed the whole temple. And Josephus survived, and he turned on the Jews, became a turncoat, and started being Roman. And that's Piso is not his real name. That's the name of the family that adopted him. And Josephus wrote the New Testament. Josephus also means Joseph, so he was the Joseph in the Mary and Joseph story. Josephus wrote himself in there as Paul. He wrote his other family members in there, like Mark. The book of Mark is named after Mark Antony, which is Cleopatra's baby daddy.
Whoa.
I like the way you said that, his baby daddy.
Wow.
His other name was Matthias, so the book of Matthew was also named after Flavius Piso. So all that New Testament stuff was created by Flavius Josephus Matthias Piso. So I got videos on it. So all of this stuff is a battle of religion. The Jews were being persecuted by the Romans. You got to understand that what you're looking at, America is modern day Rome. The Jews have found a way to, because they was chosen by Osiris, the ghost god, who put them in the position that they're in, and they've been pimping the rest of the Caucasian race politically, and they use people like Epstein to get the Jewish Mossad, the CIA of the Jews, and the Zionists, and they got dirt on all these politicians. That's why they all support them. So when Elon said that Trump is in the Epstein files, you better believe it. Because they've been doing this for decades, and they set them all up. And that's what kept Trump from going to jail was Netanyahu. Because they need Trump them to do what they're doing now. So once y'all understand that y'all looking at a political, religious prediction or prophecy, that's what they're doing. Netanyahu them is trying to fulfill the building of the third temple. And the Christians who look at it from the New Testament, they know when the third temple get built, they say the Antichrist is going to walk in it. So if you look now, right now they're building the West Wall. They can't build a big piece because the Dome of the Rock with the Muslims is sitting on the same mountain. And if they build anything, it's going to cause a problem. So what's going to happen is a war going to start, but it's going to be a religious war. It's not going to be a war of we got the right to be here. They're going to do something filthy, and it's going to cause a war, and the Muslims are going to get into it with them because they believe that the Dome of the Rock is where Muhammad went to heaven from that
oh, so you're trying to say they're going to shoot down, they're going to fire one at the dome of the religious thing?
That's gonna trickle if that's the only way they're gonna be to rebuild the third wall. They're gonna have to disturb that the Dome of the Rock. Now, like I told the other day when we was talking, I said only way they can do that without causing damage, destruction, they're gonna have to get the leadership over the Dome of the Rock in a position of blackmail to allow them to build without causing a conflict. But either way it goes, whether they blackmail some people, some Arabs on that side, or they cause an explosion, or so whatever the case is, that's going to really kick it off religiously. So that's what y'all got to understand, that the Jews as a whole put in one, what the Bible writers did, they did what's called anthropomorphism, and also plurality. Sometimes they'll singular, they'll make them plural, or they'll take something that's plural, make it singular. So when you talk about the Antichrist supposed to come into the temple to build what they call the abomination of desolation, that's going to be Judaism and Netanyahu, because they don't believe in the New Testament. You can't get no more Antichrist than that outside of the Romans, Caucasian people, Caesarion Ptolemy, aka Jesus Christ in the first place. So that's why we have to take ourselves out of it, because anybody that's champion y'all go build a temple, all you're doing is you calling on them to finish up what's going to start the end of it all. That's what he's doing. That's why when you listen to Ted Cruz, he said he's believed that they supposed to bless Israel, and the guy was like, "What you mean, the government Israel?" Or the state? And again, I had this conversation with an elder earlier. If you look at the Jews today and all of the crap they've been doing right in Israel, now go to the Bible and look up all of the negative stuff that God said, that Jacob was a stiff-necked people. They always going against the laws of God. It's nothing but bad stuff in the Old Testament when you look at the track record of the children of Israel, right? Yeah. So I told them, I said, now, how can they be the chosen of God if they was in their own Old Testament chronologizing how they've been getting cursed and breaking covenant after covenant after covenant after covenant, right? That's what they still doing. I said, are they still doing the same thing to this day? She said, yes. I said, okay then, so stop thinking that these people are blessed when they're doing most of the
you know what too though? I think also, it's like this, right? You got a blank book. If I write a book, right now I can write my book and I buried it in the deep dirt of the earth. 20 years you wake up, you get the same book. I say I walked on water. I said I was the king of the kings. They'll believe Claude Jones was king of kings because they didn't know me 20 years ago. I could be the guy in the corner. You know what I'm saying? I could be Joe. I'd be Joe the drunk guy who drinking liquor and collecting bottles. But I had to rip some pavement and bury it. Now I've got a book, put it in the yard. You find that book, like, yo, I'm gonna fuck them up. I'm gonna say I'm this and this. Oh, they think They've written themselves in a book.
They did that back in 325 AD. So they had to wait 300 years for the people who knew better. Because when they had to create the Jesus epic and put it into humanity and to really trick the world properly, they had to wait for the generations of the people who knew better. See, the story, which is actually a true story and not a mystery, the true story that Tarnoon was explaining earlier, they knew better. The people back then knew better. They knew that Jesus wasn't walking on water. They knew that all of those stories came from Kemet, right?
Yep.
So they had to wait 325 years until the Council of Nicaea to say, okay, those people have died out. The generations of those folks have died out. Now we can implement that particular injunction in the story as far as the Immaculate Conception.
Yeah, Serapis.
Those things had to be, and on top of that, the Council of Nicaea also, that's when they divided Africa into different places.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Because the people of Africa had oral tradition at that time, and that oral tradition said nothing about no damn Jesus.
Yep.
So they had to divide up those lines. They had to do all of it because Jesus is not in African oral tradition.
Nope.
There's been people who are greater than Jesus that existed in Kemet, and they knew better. They was like, what? Don't bring that Jesus stuff there. Get that out of here.
Yep.
So the Council of Nicaea was a spiritual shift in consciousness for the planet, and that's why they had to do it. So that's what you were talking about, Claude. When you write a book, and now you inject yourself as the greatest person that ever lived.
I'm trying to, because of the names of Caesar Rion to Ptolemy.
Yeah.
That his mother named him are the same names in the Bible.
Yeah, because that was the main thing. Everybody was saying, for years they were saying JC meet Julius Caesar. Everybody saying JC, Christ. Everybody knew that got something to do with it back in the day, because we had a big story about Cleopatra and Mark Antony, and wait a minute, I said, wait a minute, he had a son she sent off, who then they said got murdered. I said, Then it goes back to Serapis, like I said, Council of Nicaea, when they made Serapis into our storyline in Kemetic areas. But it's some deep shit, man. It's deep, man, motherfuckers, and everybody get brainwashed. They think, you know what I'm saying? But while they lying to people, they're lying to people, and people want to think this big Golden Gate got gold and some fly. You know what I'm saying? They raping the fucking shit out of everybody of money, and they're stealing.
The ones that are being deceived the most are the Christians.
Yeah.
I need them to really understand that you are being deceived the most, because your religion was put in place by those Jews in order to keep you from mentally understanding who they are. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
There's little pieces in there to help you really understand who the Jews are, but people don't really understand how devilish and evil they really are. You understand? Hitler knew that, and that's why they had to demonize Hitler in a kind of way where they will put you against Hitler in that kind of way. Don't get me wrong, Hitler did some very atrocious things as far as humanity is concerned, and he's not to be taken off the hook for any of the things that you did, because I don't believe that I don't reason that a people should be treated and put in concentration camps just because you're part of a religious institution.
Mm-hmm.
But Hitler did that, and you will see that there's certain Jews who are right and exact. The ones that are right-minded will tell you that Hitler did that because the Jews were destroying Germany from the inside out, from the banks to the inflation what's the thing is called when you charge interest. So a Jew would charge a crazy amount of interest to a person, and this is where words like profit come into existence. So words like profit come from the Jews, right? Because they understand that the money and the currency is what controls and uses the people in that kind of way. And that's why they have that religion of Judaism, because the religion of Judaism was stolen from Kemet and basically bastardized in a way where they can take advantage of the people spiritually.
Yeah.
Because that is it's a religion of magic. And that's why you see a lot of black Jews would say they weren't the real Jews. And that's true.
Mm-hmm.
They're not the real Jews because they use the magic of Kemet to create the Hebrew language and all of these languages. And even when I was showing Tarnoon the other day, that the Yod from their religion is really the peak of the Ibis bird, which happens to be Tahuti. So these are interwoven within their religion in order to control the people.
Yeah, but you even know
the magic.
It's true though. But you can look at the cloth. The cloth look like it's tribal. They know that shit don't fit. The cloth looks tribal. It's like something you see now, a tribal cloth. The different shit, you know what I'm saying? Like you look, everything like it don't look, it don't fit. Now I'm like everybody want to do what they want to do, work with it, whatever. I gotta be, independent thing. You know how I gotta be. So if they want to work, you do what you want to do. But facts is factual. We go by facts. You know what I'm saying? And we tired of lying shit. We tired of people trying to, everybody making money off our people, and we not being prosperous on our own because we got this ideal that somebody gonna save us in Golden Gates. People give all their money to religions, and somebody we waiting for something better when you close your eyes, but you make what you want here. So I'm here. We here right now. I'm here to vocal and make voice out there to the public. Whoever listens to what I'm saying, to open your eyes and your ears. And therefore, if I don't touch nobody else in a lifetime, you can't say that you were not warned and you were not given information on my shows. And my show may go a million years from now. And I may be put up million years, I may be the marks of a whole civilization. What you saying? They may find my show somewhere in the archives and bring my name up and say, oh shit, this guy back then, 15 years, was talking the same shit. You know what I'm saying? But it was real shit. So that's what I'm here for. I'm saying we here right now to tell you information. That's what my show based upon different information for different people to understand different synapses. You know what I'm saying? I'm more ghetto-like. I'm more talk my straight talk. A lot of my other guests who give factual information. I'm hit you from every angle, intellectually and for the street also. So, but basically, trying to say is you've been bamboozled. The motherfuckers taking your money and claiming you going somebody walk on the water will come down there, and it ain't gonna happen. You know what I'm saying? They're gonna take your money. They're gonna put you in a false religion, or because you're all spiritual anyway. So they have you believe in a book that they've written their own self into, and I believe somebody chosen. Like really. Think about this synopsis is: if there is a God, why would God say some people are chosen people? If God, you have no feeling. God don't have feelings. God is spiritual. That is a bodily function. Spirits are spirits. Gods are gods. When you're a God, you're logical. You're not emotional. And emotional is not about chosen. Chosen is a logical, emotional area. We are the only group of people that have been taking our names and stricken from the books. You know who we are. They keep us off balance. Once you say, I'm a God, and you pronounce out your mouth what you do, it all will become a calling to folk. I say that, and everything I want in my life, I have always gotten. Even from hidden numbers of lotto. You gotta believe what you are. Don't be fucking bamboozled by books or whatever. That's what I'm here for, you know what I'm saying? So I knew we'll be able to kick it. We're gonna keep talking about this stuff. We really like this topic. And we talk about them hospitals. That same thing with hospitals too. The hospitals, right now, we got these guys talking about this and this, but nothing better than herbals. Herbs are nothing better than herbs right now that deal with people's health. You know what I'm saying? And I think the hospital, a lot of them in the hospital now try to kill a lot of people. And they try, you know what I'm saying? They give you these fucking medicines that make your life worse. My mother was in the hospital getting my knee surgery, and if I wouldn't have been my mother, she would have made it out of the hospital. They try to give her all kind of different painkillers. They try to give her an insulin shot that her sugar wouldn't high like that. They want to give her all kind of stuff. If I wasn't there with my mother, I'm telling you right now, my mom, when I made the hospital, she had a lot more problems. I had to get my mother out of the hospital, and now she's walking around pretty good with her little walker and give her training. If I didn't stay in the hospital, she would have made it out there. You know, they give her kind of stuff. And what you think about the hospital industry and how that loops in with religion or hospital areas?
So also a part of capitalism, which happens to be a huge part of the religion that we're talking about as far as capitalism goes. One thing you must take away from this entire discussion is that hospitals, the prison system, whole healthcare system is all part of a religion. That's why when they say, you know, some of you may have heard before that places like, what you call it, like writing, right? Writing is what you would call a ritual. Right?
What?
So you go there to go, yeah, that's what right is. And if you ever look at the way they spell right, R-I-T-E, and you go look it up, the etymology of the word, it means ritual. So writing becomes a ritual to those who are going to the pharmacy. So you are constantly going there as a ritual to get your medicine in order for you to be in take care forever. So this system can only benefit off the fact that you're sick. How do they get you sick? They get you sick through the food, right? So a lot of the food that we eat, they lead you to the hospital, and then the hospital in turn makes you more sick. I'll never. A lot of times, the hospital is the place where people go and they never really get healed fully.
Yeah.
So they may mask what you would call mask the symptoms that you're facing, but they never cure you in the way that you're supposed to be cured, meaning that you're never going to come out of there better than you came in.
Yeah.
Well, that's absurd. You will always come out worse. You may mask the symptoms where when you get out of there, it's like, oh man, I feel better. No, all they're doing is covering up the problem for it to spiral out of control at a later date.
Yeah, yeah.
You understand? So hospitals are very devious. They're very, they're orchestrated in a way where now they are turning the natural medicine into what they would call alternative medicine.
Yeah.
Alternative medicine is supposed to be what you would call the medicine that is in the hospital or in the pharmacy.
Yeah.
And even the word pharmacy comes from sorcery. The word pharmacy, the way that it's spelled, if you ever go look it up, it comes from sorcery.
Hey, Newt.
Yeah.
I'll ask you a question. Why do you plug in your thing again, your kickstarts real quick, all right? Because by the time I roll up, and I'm gonna kick that music toward them. So plug in your kickstart. What is the kickstart thing again?
Right now, myself and Tarnoon, we both have Kickstarters on it, and I want you guys to go check it out. The name of my Kickstarter is called A Biological Calendar of the Universe.
Okay.
Right? So if you go check it out, you know what I'm saying? I got a lot of information about the calendar. That's how actually me and Claude first met, is when I brought the calendar on there. But now I'm trying to turn the calendar into an app.
Okay.
So this particular app is supposed to help us get into unison with nature and become more aligned with nature, and as far as the times and the cycles are concerned.
That sounds good, bro.
Yeah, we are out of sync as far as times and cycles are concerned. Also, my kin Tarnoon, he has his tarot deck cards on there. It's called the Nooneebu Tarot Deck. That's Nooneebu
Okay.
Cards. So it's Nooneebu Tarot cards.
So what we gonna do? I'm gonna let you text me all that, and I'm gonna put that. I'm gonna try to get that on the show, on the screen. I like to say love y'all very much and peace, and stay positive. You know, stay positive, because all be happening like that, and you gotta believe in yourself. Claude Jones presents. Peace.